Lakeside Dental Clinic, Go Island, is brought to you by Lakeside Dental Clinic.
This is Nicole Nattrass, and she's performing, and she's actually written Mamahood, Turn and Face the Strange. It's one of 2 solo comedy shows in repertory, making up Theatre One's presentation of Welcome to Parenthood.
Jordan Gladstone building a life around basketball, helping children cope in overwhelming situations, and perhaps one of the funniest clocks on record.
If you're a parent, you know that means pretty intense sleep deprivation, and if you're in the early phases of sleep deprivation, no. It never really gets better. You will never sleep again. That's something that Marie, played by Nicole Nattrass, is facing as a new 40-something mother who is extremely highly overachieving, and she's applying all of that stuff to being a new mom. Also in the festival called Welcome to Parenthood, we have a guy who is trying to figure out if it's safe and appropriate and even possible to operate a whole lot of power tools while feeling the influence of said sleep deprivation. We're going to talk about all of that later on this edition of Go Island. But first, we're going to throw things over to Jocelyn Matwee, spending some time at Franklin Street Gym with a young Aboriginal man who is using basketball to enhance all aspects of his life. The 2015 All-Native Junior Basketball Tournament takes place beginning on March 23rd. There's 3 venues, John Barsby, NDSS, and VIU. Opening ceremonies on March 22nd. That's Sunday at 3 o'clock. And you can get more details and game times and all of that good stuff online, www.sunemu.com. This is David Mann. He's the artistic director at Theatre One and the director of Welcome to Parenthood, which is actually kind of 2 shows, but not 2 shows in one. Is that right?
No, not 2 shows in one. It's 2 quite separate and quite different shows. We're really quite excited about it. It's going to be a fun week. It kind of came together because of a synergy, just something that happened to come up at about the same time. I'd been aware of Lucas Meyer's show, Hello Baby. I mean, whether you are currently a new parent, or you're thinking about having a kid, or you've had kids in the past, or you know somebody, you're an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent, just about anybody can relate to what it's like to experience that life-changing catastrophe in some cases.
Now, we are going to see some scenes and learn more about Mamahood, Turn and Face the Strange. Yeah. We don't have Hello Baby here today. Is there a link between the 2? Is there a parallel? Are they both overwhelmed and unprepared? Is that?
Well, I know certainly in terms of mamahood, it's kind of that situation where you can think you are as prepared as you could possibly be for any eventuality, and it'll still take you by surprise.
Right.
And I think with Lucas's show, there's a sense of that too, but it's also, I mean, being a father, a new father, and trying to maintain, like you say, doing things like working with power tools or whatever, while dealing with being an active parent, not the old style father who's out the door to work every day, but a really active parent. I mean, yeah, they both have to overcome challenges.
It opens up a whole lot of dialogue. When I read the line about, can I do these things from a father's perspective while sleep deprived? I think as a new mom, I was always very self-centered, going, I'm so tired, I'm the one up with the baby, I'm this. So the fact that it touches on the role that fathers have to play is a pretty important piece for people to see and experience and share.
Absolutely. And that is a link between the 2 shows, is how do you deal with that sleep deprivation? How some cases, it's mild, but in particularly the case in Mamahood, it's extreme. And she has to somehow overcome that.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. You don't know it till you live it, and if you've had children, you've probably lived it. Here's a little scene from Mamahood, Turn and Face the Strange. We'll be back after that with a short break.
I always said if I didn't have a baby by the time I was 40, it was destiny. I conceived on the evening of my 40th birthday, on the very last day, my last chance. And now, Mamahood.
Still to come today, helping children deal with difficulties in life, conserving energy in a classroom diet, and Todd and Derek almost give up.
We're here in the lobby of the Malaspina Theatre at VIU campus. This will be home to Welcome to Parenthood, Theatre One's latest productions that features Hello Baby and Mamahood, Turn and Face the Strange. Go online for full details on that. We'll rejoin them on stage in just a few minutes. But first, death, divorce, and serious illnesses. These are things that can happen to anyone at any time. And when they occur in a family, their effect on the children can be quite overwhelming and sometimes devastating. There's a group of dedicated volunteers in Port Alberni who are helping children who are facing some challenges. Here with that is Nancy Wilmot.
Home, baby finally sleeps, but we can't. We look at the bundle of joy next to us. Vincent and I lay in bed staring.
That is Nicole Nattrass performing in what she has written, Mamahood, Turn and Face the Strange. We'll have a conversation with her later on this edition of Go Island. Here now, though, is our Get Up and Go community calendar.
Is this how babies are supposed to sound? From the Jurassic period? Baby wakes up every hour, hungry.
Nicole Nattrass, writer and performer, Mamahood, Turn and Face the Strange. You're living the life, aren't you? You have a
almost six-year-old
son, and you relate parenthood to visiting another planet?
I do. I do, actually. When I started writing Mamahood, I'm an older parent, so it really was like landing on another planet. And all new sounds and all new responsibilities and all new toys and clothes and diapers, and it was just like, wow, this is what it would be like to be flying to outer space and land on a different planet. So it's kind of my inspiration for writing the show.
And that might be heightened for us older parents because we're so used to being in the life with the ways that we've had and are pretty established in our habits and our ways.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of,
change.
How do you balance what's true and what's not true in this show for you, fiction versus nonfiction?
Well, whenever I write, I always mix the two. I love to write from my own real life, but I also like to exaggerate things, so that's when the fantastical comes in. And my first one-woman show was about a brownie who was 28 years old, so...
An edible brownie, like a dessert brownie?
No, Brownie Girl Guide of Canada. And so, of course, I wasn't a 28-year-old brownie.
Right.
But for the theater, you know, you heighten that sense of theatricality, and a lot of comedy happens because it's extreme. You know, you put that character in an extreme situation. So the show is based on my life, but there's lots of things that I have exaggerated and embellished that didn't happen. And I kind of like that, because then people are going, what's true and what's not true?
Now, this show has performed for audiences. Yeah. What kind of response and what kind of feedback do you get?
It's been really positive. I've done 3 stage readings of this play, and actually the impact has been really incredible from young men who came up to me who said that they learned so much about what it's like to have a baby, to a 90-year-old woman who had just a really strong reaction to the piece. So it's been really lovely.
There's lots of layers of things that it can give an audience as far as building understanding, as you say, between how a man faces parenthood and how a woman faces parenthood.
Yeah.
Just maybe some of the your own fears that maybe you feel guilty about, but when you can see someone else on stage sharing them, oh, I'm not the only one, right?
Yeah, I think I wanted to portray like a real story rather than what we see on TV, because so much of it is not like TV, like the Pampers commercials. I think part of me
How
actually...
do they get those babies anyways? I don't know what babies actually are that clean and perfect when they're sleeping.
I think I actually thought parenthood might be kind of like that. So I was pretty shocked.
You'd never changed a diaper before being a mom?
I had worked as a nanny, but it just seemed really easy.
Because it wasn't your own.
And clean, and you know, I got to leave, and then Yeah.
It's hopeful at the end, right? I mean,
Yes.
we don't want to give it all away, but
Yes.
it's not like a whole downer on parenthood.
No, not at all. It really explores the joys and the sorrows and all the feelings that you have in parenthood.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to throw things over now to a couple of parents, Todd Jones and Derek Johnstone, running around loose on the streets of Nanaimo. Another edition of Clocked. I think that's one of my favorite episodes of Clocked. That brings us to the end of this edition of Go Island. Welcome to Parenthood from Theatre One. Runs until Sunday. I can't tell you what time the show is because I don't know what time it is when you're watching this show. So go online, www.theatre1.org. Just a final note before we go today, still on the topic of theatre. The Kismet Theatre Collective is presenting When I Was, written and performed by women of the Kismet Theatre Collective. It's stories of healing and hope, and it's all a fundraiser for the Haven Society. It runs here at Malaspina Theatre for one show only on the 26th. You can get your tickets at Catwalk. More details, 250-716-8863. Thanks for watching this edition of Go Island. We'll see you at the theatre.
Lakeside Dental Clinic Go Island is brought to you by Lakeside Dental Clinic, a division of the Vancouver Island Implant Center, delivering dental services, including dental implants and sedation dentistry, all under one roof. Clothing supplied by Catwalk Fashions. Kate's Hair and Aesthetics provided by Maffeo Salon.